want me to introduce
Yeah, go on.
your podcast?
Yep. So that you're the host for today.
I am the host
Hostess
for today.
of the mostest.
Hostess with the mostest. So we're going to do the podcast today. What's it called? Perspective podcast. What's the topics? You tell me.
Okay. Topics we'll be discussing is your dissertation.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to do a little bit of an intro about that?
So I'm studying if there is a current decline in heirlooms in younger generations, and also to investigate if heirlooms are changing due to modern times.
Mm-hmm. Nice. And Alex?
What
What are you doing your
dissertation?
diss on or your main project?
Well, my main project is about it's about heirlooms and passing down products. It's currently taking the form of a love seat.
Okay.
Because I'm trying to start this conversation around kind of family history and using kind of heirlooms as a vehicle for that. But yeah, and then my dissertation is kind of about. It's not about heirlooms specifically, but it's more about like barriers to repairing and maintaining products that you keep.
Okay.
So, but I'm sure there's definitely a lot of
A
crossover
lot of
between.
similarities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What have you found so far? How have you found writing your diss?
Writing my diss, I'm terrible at it. Everyone thinks I'm dyslexic. I'm not sure that I am. But I found it really hard to do time management with dissertation.
Mm-hmm.
I think the hardest part is starting it.
Yeah, definitely.
The literature review is a pain, but I feel like you just have to keep going. And also, I feel like a bit of a guinea pig with how they've changed it this year. So they've brought it forward 2 months, which is quite a lot. And obviously time moves faster than you think. So I've only got a week left to do my discussion. And yeah, I should have enough time. But if not, there's always extensions.
It's a bit like spinning plates at the moment because you've got to balance both the writing and the design work.
Yeah.
I'm terrible at multitasking. So I've literally just put my major project to the side. And I know that as soon as the dissertation's out of the way, I'll be able to do the major project like full speed ahead and just come in every day.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking forward to, just getting this dissertation out of the way.
Yeah, I think it's hard as creatives to actually try to do academic writing with, I guess, guidance about how actually to write.
Yeah, definitely.
I like doing descriptive writing and writing in general, but I don't like finding other people's opinions. So I like writing about my opinion, but finding other people's opinions and making arguments is like something I've never done before. And I feel like the university, like they've tried to best, what's the word, suitors for doing the dissertation, but I don't know, I feel like there hasn't been enough of an emphasis on academic writing in the previous years.
Yeah.
So it's, I don't know, I feel like a lot of people have come into final year and they're just like, I don't know, headless people, like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, it's hard. You feel like, I guess for both of you, feel like you've become a bit of an expert in your field with your diss, or are you still kind of finding your own way with it?
I think I've definitely realised that the more I learn about this topic, the more I realise how little I know. And I think when you're talking about products which people interact with, like people are really complex, you know, and there's so many different reasons why people choose to keep things and maintain things. Yeah, it's a really complex thing, I think. So yeah, I don't feel like an expert at all.
Yeah.
Quite the opposite, actually.
More clueless now than before.
Yeah, definitely. Would you say the same, or?
I'd say due to mine being an investigation on heirlooms, there's not really a field of expertise in it. It's more of like a social construct, and there are papers on it, but there's not many modern investigations to see if they're changing. So I feel like I'm kind of having to find these things out myself, which is kind of cool. But yeah, it's like a lot of pressure, but it just changes what your dissertation has to be. It's like, yeah, it's more focused on the primary research rather than the literature review.
You find it really interesting, though, or?
I find it interesting.
Yeah.
Other people seem to find it more interesting than I do. I just find designing interesting, and I don't find this specific section in our academic journey interesting. But I understand everyone has to do it, so got great teeth.
Yeah.
What are some of your like, I guess, findings that you found about why people aren't keeping products?
Well, it's kind of, I'm currently looking at Gen Z specifically, because I'm trying to see if there is a trend towards repairing more. But what I'm kind of learning now, and what I'm starting to argue, is that it could be that once this generation start to get more disposable income, we're then just going to revert back to our parents' generation or the previous generations, where we just become less sustainable. There's a lot of barriers to why people would choose to or not choose to do things like that. Yeah, social media definitely plays a really large role in people's perception of sustainability, and I think what I'm finding is a lot of people will try to give the illusion of being sustainable
Being green.
and being green, or
Greenwashing.
they want to appear to be. So like even in the survey, people will say, yeah, I'd love to repair this, or yeah, I'd love to maintain my products and keep them forever. But in reality, it's not like that at all. You know?
Do you feel like, I guess this kind of comes into heirlooms as well, I guess having a massive consumerism culture, and I guess throwaway culture, because things are so accessible now. It's easy just to buy something new, especially if it's cheap. I guess, like, for example, IKEA is, and yeah, some stuff does last a long time, but I guess compared to like other generations, the stuff that we buy isn't going to last as long, and
definitely.
people buy loads more, and I guess the waste from that. Massive.
I think the repairability problem isn't going to be fixed at the consumer level. I think it gets fixed at the manufacturer's level, and into government and policies, because you've got concepts like planned obsolescence, where companies purposely make their products last less time so that you're forced to rebuy. So obviously, it's hard for your average Joe to repair a product that's made to be broken.
Yeah.
So I think it needs to change at a different level, in the government and with the manufacturers. That's my opinion on it.
They are starting to change it now, I think, because you've got there's the new Right to Repair Act. So I think now it's that technology manufacturers, they have to keep producing parts even after the product is discontinued, so that people can, if they want to and they choose to repair, they can go to a professional who can put a new battery in or whatever. So it is starting to change now, I think.
I think it's not changing fast enough though, and I don't think they're doing enough.
Yeah, I agree.
You got Apple, for example, who's making these pieces of equipment so that you can repair your own phone at home. These pieces of equipment, like to take the back off of an iPhone. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember, but before, if you wanted to change a battery, you just clicked the back of your phone off and get a new battery.
That's right, yeah.
But Apple are now charging like a fortune for this product so that you can fix your phone at home, but it's just not unacceptable, unobtainable to your average, household. In 2020, my grandfather passed away, and he had a lot of things, but he didn't really plan for any of his stuff to go to anyone. So a couple years ago, his chair came to me, and it's an Urkel chair, really nice, but it's missing pieces and it's a bit broken. And I think that's probably what got me interested in it. And my major project is I'm designing a lounge chair which kind of honors him, and it's like it draws inspiration from his life to make the design and to drive the design decisions. So that's kind of what got me into Heirloom. So I thought I didn't want to do a thesis because I wanted to have a break from the major project, but I still wanted to do something that was semi-related. So that's how I came onto Heirlooms and looking at like product life cycle. And then from there it's just trying to figure out what an heirloom is, because there's lots of definitions of what an heirloom is. People argue that the inheritors parent or grandparent needs to be dead for it to be an heirloom. But modern studies are showing that there's a rise of like intangible heirlooms, like recipes and stuff, and entertainment heirlooms, which is basically when parents want to pass down their opinion of like movies to the children. So yeah.
How is that different from, say, a tradition or?
So a traditional heirloom's like a physical object, like a watch, or it's usually small items or furniture. And then you've got assets, which is like houses. It's not really an heirloom; it's an asset.
Yeah.
So heirlooms usually carry some form of sentimental value. So that's what. Yeah.
Do you think that's like just like a single generation thing? So, for example, like I don't know, society's changing all the time, and for example, 2 generations ago, they wouldn't have been like, I don't know, watching Netflix or whatever.
Right.
So do you feel like that's like, oh, well, my parents like to watch this film, so I'm going to watch this film, and that's been passed down to me because it's a similar shared interest? Instead of like, do you think it's a bit of a shame that, I guess, the decline of heirlooms from like generations and generations and generations is declining, and this new rise of intangible experiences is, I guess, progressing?
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think society is going to change no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
It's either you bend or you break. So I don't think it's a problem. And due to like consumer culture, and as we were talking about earlier, like planned obsolescence, I don't think we're going to have really nice things unless, I don't know, you buy a really expensive watch, because they're never going to be bad. Like your Rolex or any other brand that's really expensive. I only know Rolex. Anyway, I don't think they're going to go out of fashion, but yeah.
I think the other thing to say as well about something like that is that I think you want a product that is durable enough to last that long. Because like, it's not like someone's going to pass down their phone. Maybe they would pass down the phone, but it probably wouldn't last very long. It's not designed to last long. So like things like that don't really make very good heirlooms. Is that the sort of thing that you found, or?
Yeah, what was that expression that you said to me in our focus group the other day? Because I did a focus group with Ella and some other friends to find out their opinion on the topic. You said something that your family says, it's like
you get what you pay for.
You get what you pay for, yeah. And I think it comes down to that, like if you're in a situation where you can afford nice things, and you can have something to pass down. But I don't know, for people on the breadline or in poverty, I don't think the concept of heirlooms matters too much to them. It's kind of just surviving paycheck after paycheck. So I don't think that's a problem.
So do you think it's, I guess one thing that would be interesting to look at is, I guess, heirlooms in deprived areas, and how that changes within, I guess, different areas of income.
That could be an interesting piece of research, but I haven't looked into that. Mine's more looking at the the disappearance of them in the modern generation, but I think my conclusion is going to be something more along the lines of they're not disappearing, they're just evolving and changing. And but I could put that in my what's it called, recommendations. That sounds pretty good. What was it? We'll look back on the video. That sounds pretty good.
We'll find that.
Watch it back.
Yeah. And have you found, like, I guess with repairability, kind of linking to Alex's, that more people are likely to repair heirlooms and like do it up to make it their own?
I think it depends on the amount of sentimental value it has. Also, its function. So if you've got, I don't know, I think you're less likely to fix something that's less functional than something that's functional. So let's say I'm going to use something,
That's a good point, yeah.
Yeah, so if I inherited a classic radio from my grandfather, and it was, had lots of sentimental value, but I don't listen to the radio. If I had a lot of disposable income, then sure, I'll probably fix it. But it comes down to priorities. It depends where you are. And I think what's the TV show that recorded down the road from you?
The Repair Shop.
The Repair Shop, yeah. There's things like that where you get to see people's stuff get repaired. So that's good.
And I guess those TV shows will actually encourage people to look at their heirlooms and repair them themselves, although they go to experts at the repair shop. But I do think that probably by people saying, actually, maybe I can repair this, or
there's still value left in these things.
100%. Yeah.
That's a big part of it, definitely. Yeah.
Do you think it's like a generational thing?
What?
I guess with like linking with Gen Z, do you think the people from Gen Z are more likely to not keep heirlooms, as it's more like, I guess, throwaway culture, consumerism?
I think there's lots of factors why Gen Z might not want to keep anything. Like, we're in a pretty tricky period in our lives. I'm Gen Z, you're Gen Z, and I'm pretty sure you're Gen Z.
Yeah.
But I'm on the border of millennial. Just missed out. But yeah, I think we've got too much to worry about at the minute. I'm pretty sure that kind of stuff is going to come later in our lives where we care about it more.
Yeah.
Or I'm pretty sure you guys are more bothered about bettering yourselves, moving on, getting a job, getting a house.
Do you find that what part of the reason why people keep heirlooms because they want to kind of be connected more with the past, or they see maybe they see the past as like a simpler time, and they want to kind of.
I found that with the
Come back
older
to that.
generation.
Yeah.
From my research, the older generation seems to want to hold on to these things a bit more, to cling to the past basically. Because there's a theory that basically says we look at the past better than we look at the present. Even if the past wasn't that good, we still reminisce about it. I can't remember what it's called, but yeah. So yeah, I definitely think that's got something to play in it. Younger generations, when they tend to get something that doesn't fit their personality, they're likely to change it. Yeah. So if they got a necklace that wasn't fitting their personality, then they'll change it to something else.
Do you feel like that gets rid of the value of an heirloom?
I don't think so. I think it adds to it. It's a generational thing. So, let's say there's something that's been in the family for 3 generations. So your grandmother had something.
Like a necklace or something.
A necklace. Yeah. She passed it down to her daughter, and she personalized it and customized it. Yeah, it might affect the monetary value of the item, but I think it greatly increases the sentimental value. And then it goes down to, the mother's daughter.
I'm not sure if I agree,
Really? I disagree.
You disagree?
Yeah.
It's the Greek paradox thing. It's like let's say you got the Greek boat, and then they replace all of the sails and the mast and all the parts of the boat. Is it the same boat?
No, it's not the same boat, but it's still the same shell, right?
Well, it's like, what does it even mean for an object to be like the original? Like, what is it that makes it the same?
I think it depends on the individual. I mean, there's probably some people that, I think it also depends on the object. If you had like a Tiffany necklace, then, you're not really going to want to change that. But if it's something that doesn't have too big of a monetary value, then you're not really going to worry too much about customizing it.
I guess so. But if I was to be given my great grandmother's necklace, and then it's like, oh yeah, but I've got this necklace, it's my great great grandmother's, but oh yeah, my mum personalized it and she changed it to how she wants, I wouldn't see as much value, because I wouldn't see it as my great great grandmother's. I would see it as like my mum's.
Yeah, but what's wrong with that? What's wrong with you seeing it as, this was my great grandmother's, this is now my mum's, and now this has come to me?
I would still see value in it, but I wouldn't see as much.
Really?
Compared to if it was just exactly as it had been. I
think it depends what it is though as well, because I think some things you want to keep original, but then some things, I think it's a bit of both in my opinion. I think there is a bit of crossover where it's like you do kind of want something to grow and change over time and tell this story, but then at the same time you do want to still have the original essence of what made it, the product originally.
That's kind of like, is it the product or is it the sentimental value?
Yeah, and I also guess that comes down to individual preference.
For me, so my granddad had I think it was a cuffling originally, and it was I think St. Christopher cuffling. And my dad turned it into a gold chain. But I tried it on, and I look like a stupid person with it on. It doesn't suit me at all. And he says he wants me to have it, so I might change it into something else. I don't see any problem with that. As long as you don't, I think there's going too far in changing it. You just don't want to go past that point.
Do you think that having heirlooms that change over time is more beneficial as styles and trends shift in the future.
Yeah, I think they have to change, you know.
Mhm.
But I think there's always going to be periods as well where something comes back into fashion.
Yeah.
So I can give an example of this. So my granddad also, I managed to get a Minolta camera, I think from like the 80s, and I'm pretty sure in the early 2000s, 2010s, you know, it didn't have any value whatsoever. But due to like social media, coming back to that, you know, people have made film cameras more um, trendy, yeah. So I've got this camera now that I would have never used, but now I do use to do some film photography because yeah, I saw it online. It looks cool. So I think the internet has a big role to play in what's trendy and what's not trendy, and I think it just takes turns. I did an interview with a lady from Hopkinson's, which is a antique store.
Yeah, I've been there many
Yeah,
times.
yeah.
Yeah.
And she was basically saying that things come and go. You can't predict these things. That's kind of why they stock a bit of everything. But the sad thing is she said that, I don't know, when people buy these things, within a couple of years of them buying it, it'll be in the back of the drawer, or it'll be resold again. But I think that's the way we are as a society. We're consumers, and it's just a constant churn out of stuff, and it just rotates and rotates, and you know, new things get thrown in.
Yeah, and I guess there's some sort of beauty in that. Like, I guess things coming back into fashion as well.
Yeah, like, yeah, it's good, but try and make something that lasts forever. It's not possible.
Yeah, no. I guess also like well-crafted products and furniture is gonna last longer, and it won't be everlasting, but it will try to. It's made to last.
Yeah,
isn't
but
it?
I think there's two dynamics. You know, there's like it's made to last. Yeah, but is it made to last in people's opinions? Like,
it timeless,
is
the
it
design?
their
Yeah.
taste? You know.
Yeah. My project for my major, it kind of started with my own family heirloom as well. It was like it's this like X-frame chair. It's really unusual looking. It's like hand carved, and it's like this really ornate like face on the backrest. It's really really unusual. But I showed it to my my tutor when we started, and he said it was really ugly. And he said it's like, why would you want that in your home?
Yeah.
But I almost like that. It's such an old-fashioned style. I kind of like that because it's almost like a novelty in a way. Like
Bit of a one of a kind.
yeah, because it's such a one-off piece. It's like, you know, why wouldn't you? You know, it'd be a shame if it was, you know, just a boring minimalist, you know, chair or something. But yeah, I think there's definitely value in that. I think appreciating the other styles, trends from the past.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I think it just adds character. I think nowadays, I don't know, minimal furniture and very simple, clean looking pieces of furniture and products. Yeah, they're nice, but also, and because it's in trend, but also if you look back at, you know, Art Nouveau furniture and things like that, it's got so much character in it, and I think that can be misunderstood,
I think
especially in such generation.
I think those design styles were like of the time, you know, and of the craft. We don't have that craft anymore, and I think trends come quicker than they used to. Like trends used to be 20 years back in the day. You know, Art Nouveau, Art Deco, Brutalism.
Bauhaus.
Yeah. Now it's more, you know, 2 year period, if that.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. It's not even 2 years. It's like a seasonal period.
It's a bit ridiculous though, because they'll be like, oh, the color of this year is whatever shade of green, you know. And it's just like, is it?
Yeah, I guess trends are one of those things that is kind of like a love-hate relationship with. Like, it's great to have new trends and new furniture and, you know, have fresh products in the store. And I guess as designers, we'll all end up designing to the new trend or the new color, which is a bit of a shame, rather than actually focus on creating.
But maybe we don't have to.
Yeah.
Maybe we don't have to. It's difficult to make a living from it though. That's the challenge as well.
That's not trendy, yeah, because you'll be hitting a niche market.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're kind of penalising yourself if you're not.
I think Carl Clerkin has definitely done that. I think he's managed to do that, because I spoke to him for my for my dissertation.
Mm.
He's a designer maker that kind of works a lot with upcycling.
He does a lot of
And
wacky stuff.
Yeah, his stuff is definitely very different, but there's so much personality, I think, and so much emotion behind his products. And I think he doesn't really care as much about trying to appear to
The masses.
and trying to appeal to the masses and be more commercial, because he's trying to form connections in other ways, I think.
Like your own design identity. And people will like that rather than just going to the shop and seeing, oh, that's a nice table.
But he's managed to make a living from it as well, which is really cool for me. Like, as a designer, I think that's something that I'd try to do.
Yeah, I think he's more of a designer artist. I think he's on the border of the two.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's lots of camps you can be in. So, yeah, you got your Habitats who do seasonal stuff, and you've got your Coles that do what they want to do and they think's relevant.
Yeah,
which is good.
I think it's interesting. We were talking the other day about having different universities with different design styles. So, for example, like we were talking about the Bauhaus movement and how everyone went to the Bauhaus school, and that was very much with that design style. And how now, when we go to universities, it's very similar across the board. You know, we're graded on different, similar things across the country, but actually we all go into university and we're kind of like, I think NTU maybe not so much. We can find our own design styles, but usually we're put through this kind of like filter of like fitting the trend, fitting the mold, doing this design style, looking at trends.
I think that's part of the reason why I chose NTU, is because I got the impression that you weren't forced into a
one part mold.
Yeah.
I think the one part, like, it's probably better, like the Bauhaus movements, and I kind of like the idea of schools of thought.
Yeah.
So I think, in Denmark you used to have like master cabinet makers, and these things were really cool. And then Bauhaus, and like and you if you wanted to learn a certain thing, you went to a certain school. But I feel like with the university in the UK now, it's especially in design, it's you go to learn on your own. I'd much prefer to have a mentor. Like I know quite a few designers outside of the industry, and the main advice that they give to me is when I leave is find a mentor.
Okay.
Find someone who can teach you in their way, learn from their mistakes, and then become your own thingy afterwards. So I don't know. It depends on what you want to do, but I would have loved to have gone to a school of thought like Bauhaus or something.
Yeah. And I think also if you're a designer from that kind of school, your products and I guess the designs that you have after uni will kind of be more sought after, I think, rather than all graduates, churning out the same kind of stuff.
I mean, it still exists today. You still got schools where you go and it's got a reputation. So you got, is it Kingston? No, not Kingston. There's one in St Martin's. St Martin's in London. I've heard that if you graduate from St Martin's, you literally, when you introduce yourself, it's like, I'm this and I'm from St Martin's. So, but yeah, there's those schools that exist now, but they're just few and far between.
Yeah. Well, why don't we wrap up? Thank you for listening. Thank you, Jack, for coming on.
Yes,
no worries, and a big thank you to Graham. In case you didn't see. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks.
Cool.
And tune in next week.
What's next week?
I don't know.
I don't know. Nice.
It's a surprise.
It's a surprise.
Yeah, thank